Getting information to the people is a process that was greatly changed when Gutenberg invented the printing press in the 15th century. It's been 1,000 years since then, and getting information to the people has changed and grown in remarkable ways. Who are you and what do you do?
My name's Claire Dustin, and I teach English at Durango High School.
What impact did the printing of books have on people's lives?
Printing of books has impacted every aspect of people's lives, from the time of Gutenberg, when the first book printed with a movable print press came out, until now. It's impacted the way people believe, their culture, their social structures, their government, education, every aspect. And I think that's why Time magazine named Johannes Gutenberg as the person of the millennium, of the last 1,000 years, the person who's had the most impact on human life. And before that time, all books were hand copied, so they were extremely expensive, and only the very, very rich and powerful had access to them. And then in 1455, he developed the first book was printed on a movable print press, and that was the Gutenberg Bible, a copy. And that led directly to the founding of America, because the Pilgrims were Puritans. They were Protestants who were persecuted because they were going against the beliefs of the Catholic Church. That also affected the social structure of people, because, as we said, only the very powerful and rich were literate, had access to knowledge, and knowledge is power. And here in the American colonies, Thomas Jefferson amassed a huge library of books, the largest in all of North America, and he drew on those books and all the ideas in them to be the principal author of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Benjamin Franklin was instrumental in establishing the first libraries that gave broader access to books to people. And to be a democracy, people have to be able to have access to ideas. Books are still the repository of the great ideas of all ages, the great literature and the great knowledge, and they continue to be the root of power.
What is your name?
I am Helen Moss.
How old are you?
I am 93 years old.
When you were little, did you ever get a telegram?
I remember that some of my friends that had husbands that went to the war that got telegrams when their boys or their husbands was killed in the war.
What did it feel like, and what difference did it make to get a telephone?
I was a young girl, and I remember that we had a phone in our home, and we would ring it, and then the operator would answer, and we'd say, "Operator, will you ring we'd either give a name or a number?" And so she'd say, "Yes." We could even talk back and forth to the operator. She was a friend that everybody knew her. And about the only time we ever used a phone is when we felt like it would save us from walking, a dozen blocks. Or we had a message that we would want to send. We didn't get on the telephone and talk a lot. It would be for a party or something important that we would talk about on the phone.
What did it feel like, and what difference did it make to get a television set?
The television to me was nothing more than a picture that would show us what was going on, instead of your radio. On your radio, all you got was a sound.
What is your name and what do you do?
My name's Amy Maestas, and I'm the news editor at the Durango Herald newspaper.
What impact did getting newspapers have on people's lives?
Well, when newspapers were first invented, it was a big impact, because people were able to know what was going on around them in not just their communities and their small towns or the cities they lived in, but also the world. And that greatly improved society's education and knowledge about the world as a whole. And that was important because it helped people realize their roles in society, their roles in their education, and Then, of course, as newspapers developed and advertising was available, that it helped commercial industry because they were able to advertise their wares, their goods, their businesses. Then there's been the advent of the internet, and now all of a sudden people can get even more news. So it's really been an important piece of people's lives, and even though some newspapers are going out of business and news is changing, people will always get their news somehow, and the newspaper is what really started it. It's a tangible product, something they can hold in their hand.
Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Jeremy Mustard, and I'm the technical director at Chair Entertainment. We are a company that makes video games. Our most recent game was called Shadow Complex.
What is the impact on computers in people's lives?
Computers have changed people's lives dramatically since they were invented. Computers have only been around really for the last 50 years since they were invented, and really only the last 30 years since they've been in people's lives. And already they've changed the way that we do business, the way that we run our personal lives, the way we have access to information. There was a king, an ancient king, who used to take his library with him wherever he went, and he had 176,000 books that he would put on his camels and wherever he traveled, he'd take them with him, just so he could have all of the information that he knew at his fingertips whenever he wanted. He even made his camels walk in alphabetical order, so he always knew where to get his information. Nowadays, we don't have to go that far. A lot of people you can just go to the internet and find all the information you want. A lot of people now have phones that you can just type in whatever question you want and get all the information right there. Just being able to have all the world's information accessible whenever you want it is one example of.
Why is this such a big innovation?
Computers have changed everything. They've changed, because of computers, our architecture is better. People can design better things that are better materials, that are more flexible, stronger. They've changed the way that cars work. They've made them safer and more reliable and smarter. Computers have helped medicines to get better. They've helped us to map the human genome. They've helped us to become smarter. They've even helped us to have better forms of entertainment, like video games, so that we can, when we do play, that we can play even harder than we've ever played before. They've changed everything, every aspect of our lives.
Tell me who you are and what you do.
My name is Chad Mustard. I'm a co-founder of Blue Helm Communications. It's a social media consulting agency. So we go to businesses and we tell them how to integrate social media. So that means Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, stuff like that, blogs, and how to use it for their business.
What is the impact on people's lives?
So social media, things like Facebook and Twitter, what it does is it provides a lot of information, a place where people can go to find anything they want. So on Twitter, people are talking all the time about everything. So if I wanted to hear more about a certain movie, I could find what people are talking about a new movie. Really, social media it provides a lot of information for where people can interact and access that information and talk to each other about it.
How has this changed people's lives?
With social media, it's instant. So now when something is happening, for example, recently there was a big uprising in Iran where the people were against the government, and the government was shutting down the normal media. With social media, with Twitter, people could go on and say, this is happening, there's a riot, there's all this stuff is going on. So this has changed the way people communicate with each other because it's instant access to what people want and are doing.
The last 1,000 years has been amazing. Now anyone who has a computer and access to the internet can have a voice. And knowledge is power and freedom. The world is truly a smaller place.